Hey, I'm Jess from Open Roads. I spend most of my time travelling around the world on two wheels, and I'm extremely passionate about helping other people do the same. I feel like a lot of people have all these reasons and they have all these kind of cool stories about how they started, but I really just got on a bike and let it take me all around the world, and I've never stopped since. I don't know. So I've decided to make this Know or Unknown series, both to show people what it's like to go to a new place with absolutely no clue, and then to also provide advice on, how you might do it yourself. I think it's quite special when you go somewhere with almost no plans, and I know that it's quite scary to sometimes go and do that, but you open yourself up to so many possibilities. There is definitely a place for going on tours because you can meet people and you can make friends, and that's a really nice side to it. But for those who are looking for a different type of adventure, there is the opportunity to go and do it yourself, and that's essentially what this video is about. I met Andy in high school. We weren't really the best of friends, but we shared a couple of moments together and we did the same classes, and weirdly enough, 10 years later, he called me out of the blue and we went and did Nepal together.
Andy hates mud.
I think the strangest thing is that me and Andy, after school, departed ways, and we weren't in contact, but both ended up doing similar jobs and loving adventure riding. What are chances?
My name's Andy. I grew up in Australia. I started riding around 8 years ago, and there was no real reason. I think I just liked the freedom. Got a shitty old bike and I fixed it up and started riding. I haven't really done any adventure riding before that, so I wanted to do that, and why not jump into the deep end? So why Nepal?
It was never really my dream to go to Nepal. I hadn't really thought about it. But yeah, and it was always Andy's dream.
I grew up as a first generation Chinese Australian, so being in between two cultures, you don't really get a full understanding of either. And so I really wanted to understand why my parents believed in Buddhism and kind of get back to my roots. And it's so spiritual, so I think that was a great candidate for an adventure. So the planning was kind of tight.
We didn't really factor any time for anything to go wrong.
The pressure was on to actually be able to achieve what we wanted to achieve.
There's one shot for us to go and make this trip. I mean, the permit, besides being $600 US alone, compounding on this, I already had a trip booked with a sponsored trip with Royal Enfield, and it had always been my dream. So I had to be home. There was no way we could miss the flight home.
The particular route that we looked at starts at Kathmandu. We went through a bunch of towns and villages and cows, and ends up at Lo Manthang, the border of Nepal and Tibet.
So this route is one of the most adventurous and remote ones you can do in Nepal. So it's compulsory to have a guide to go to Upper Mustang as a traveller. Andy somehow managed to secure a guide to take just us two, which is really rare because normally you have to join a guided tour. So naturally, being our first time, we decided to do as much as possible without a guide, which was a really great decision.
Where to though? I don't see a road. Whoa.
Through the bridge? Back or this?
And then when we looked down, there were so many car parts at the bottom. Hopefully this road continues until the town, and so actually we don't have as far as we think we have to go.
In hindsight, I should have done a little more research. The thing to remember if you go out here, it's not like you've got people around you. Firstly, the nearest place that you can get parts from would be like maybe Pokhara the second day. So when you're out there, it takes 4 or 5 days, to get back. So if your bike breaks down, you're not going anywhere. And if you need to get evacuated, then you need to get a helicopter. So
I think, especially with the bikes that we had, They are not equipped for off-road riding.
So with the wrong bikes, no guide, no SIM card, no food, and not enough money, we went to Upper Mustang. Morons. You're welcome.
All right.
Day one was mental. I mean, we're so excited. We get our bikes, and it's the feeling you get on your bike and you just, you go for it, and then suddenly you just hit with life.
Let me through.
So you're so excited and then so confused at the same time,
I guess we go for
and just really not sure what to feel. Do I feel thrilled?
Do I indicate? No, just going for it. Oh God, oh, where is he?
Or do I feel completely terrified? I'm not sure anymore, and it's kind of just everything is all over the place, and people and cows and just horns and
Wow, holy shitballs.
like it's so much.
Is he just gonna, he's gonna go for it. Yep. Holy shit. You gonna go for it? Oh, you are. That.
Yeah.
Super scary, great introduction to riding in Nepal.
Been walking around for like half an hour. All I need to do is get some cash out.
There's a heap of factors that I just didn't consider.
We ended up falling behind schedule and riding in the dark.
We were just kind of in the moment, you know, ticking off the list, and also having like the best time because it's the first day and we don't really know what's ahead of us.
Come on.
We didn't understand how long it would take to get permits, to get bikes, to do anything really. It was really hot as well. We didn't really anticipate it being hot in Kathmandu because we prepared for how cold it was in Upper Mustang. It was, you know, in the minuses. So I think that just kind of escalated the stress. Yeah, it was all compounding because we knew that we had to get up there and back in time to make the flight, and the office had specific hours to go and get the permits. So yeah, it was just a lot to take in one day. We hadn't even started. Next time I've decided I'm going to be 100% prepared. Oh. Day 2. Righto. Just remembering it. A lot of small things happened that had massive consequences. So Andy's side stand broke.
How's that no side stand going?
That meant that he would drop his bike so many times.
The camera off.
We were so into where we were that we didn't really think about the fact that time was passing.
We ended up falling behind schedule and riding in the dark. The map that I had looked up told us to go up the hill.
2 towns named the same thing.
And we got to the destination and there was nothing.
We ended up on the side of a mountain, like nowhere, and
We were like, nah, it has to be further up. It has to be further up. It's probably at the end of the hill.
common mistake, by the way.
We got to the SUV and they told us it was all the way back down the hill. And so we had to ride down the hill, down the switchbacks in the dark.
And yeah, I couldn't blame you, Andy, because I didn't really know you well enough. I probably should have looked at the route we were taking. I just left it up to Andy. We could still have turned back, but we didn't. What didn't happen on day 3?
That was a good day.
We left late again.
You want to know why we were heading out late every day?
Kind of my fault.
Jess. I don't know what to say.
Day 3, absolutely beautiful. We noticed that because we were stopped so many times. That was the day when we realized that the whole road was under construction, and every time we thought we were making progress, you know, there's machinery and whatever, and we'd have to wait for it to pass.
And we were losing light. So time was really of the essence and it was getting really frustrating.
The roadworks that we faced like constantly meant that the road wasn't predictable. So we thought that it would just be like dirt, but in some sections it was steep, you know, almost like a waterfall because they had like running hoses and then it was slippery mud and we were trying to get up on these bikes, which slowed us down a lot.
Holy shitballs.
So that day, which could have just been a few hours, ended up taking the whole day. The upside of that is that as we stopped, we met heaps of cool people, and they were really curious seeing us on the bikes, because they don't see these type of bikes go up on that route. Yeah, at this point we realised that what the roadworks meant was that they were building a highway up to the border of Tibet on the same route we were taking through this region.
Which is kind of sad because it's going to detract from all the trekking tourism that is there right now.
And it was bittersweet because we knew that this would help so many people to improve the quality of life. Like, with that knowledge, just like knowing that we would be one of the last people to see this, I feel like we really appreciated what we were seeing. And I'm glad that I documented it, because it might be the last time that it's like this. Yeah, it was an interesting day because we were riding around on this dirt track and there was this bus on the other side, and I was being courteous, so I pulled to the side of the road and there's a sheer drop, and the bus, came along and the bus driver's smiling and everyone's like, hey, waving, and I'm looking down and I'm like, oh no, you're not gonna fit. You're not gonna fit, I'm gonna fall off the edge. But they keep on waving and driving, and they very slowly nudged me off the cliff.
And I come around the bend and I see her bike's teetering off the edge of the cliff, and, and there are people riding past like there's nothing wrong.
And the only thing that stopped me from falling off the cliff was my crash bars.
So I helped her up with the help of some other guys, gave her a big hug, and we went on our merry way.
And I would have to say that was one of the scariest moments I've ever had.
The lesson I learned from that is just firstly, never be polite to traffic. And then secondly, always stay mountainside, so away from the edge. They're not doing it on purpose, they're just not really thinking about you.
So I did a bit of research, and looks like a lot of people had done the trip on motorbikes. They had done it on dirt bikes, and also they had a guide. But I thought, we're doing this on a budget, and honestly, how hard could it be?
Andy actually did a really good job with the directions, except for the time when, he got lost and then sent us through a river. Yeah, that was great, Andy.
That was so fun. The river, I think, was a highlight. I don't know how Jess feels about it.
I had to take off the camera gear and then walk through the river and then walk back, and who am I kidding? It's fun now, wasn't fun then. We could, in hindsight, have taken a road around the river. There was a bridge. We found that out later.
But for me, that was like, you got a bridge or you got a river, and I wanted to take the river.
Day 4. Today is the day. We didn't realise this at the time, but today is the point of no return. Lucky everything went smoothly. Oh shit.
Our guy's crossfire throttle cable broke.
That took about 2 hours to get 1 kilometre. We've only done a few kilometres today. We are so far away.
It's like, how many times a day are we gonna fall,
I'm dead.
For me, it was a trip of a lifetime, but for Jess, she had to make that flight.
So I guess we're turning back.
Day 4, we had our tour guide. Everything was going to go smoothly.
Yeah, so the day that we met our guide, he was on kind of like a 250 dirt bike, and it wasn't starting. And so having owned a big thumper, like a 500 thumper, I thought, oh, I can start this bike, no worries. And I was kicking it a couple of times and I thought, all right, give it some throttle.
What's going on?
Our guide's crossfire throttle cable broke, so we're gonna have to find a new one before we head off.
Hey Andy, do you think you broke it?
Maybe. It looks pretty broken already.
Look, I'm not sure if it was him or what it was, and that's disclaimer, I am not blaming Andy for breaking our guide's motorcycle.
I'll claim it, I did it, or at least I had a part to play. Yeah, so he had to get a local bike from the town that we were staying in, and he basically borrowed this guy's bike to do the rest of the trip for us, which was pretty cool.
And off we went into the sunset together. Three perfectly able humans on noble steeds. And then there was the altitude.
It's so hard to breathe. You can't imagine.
So Andy offered me some altitude sickness tablets in the morning. I did take them after some hesitation, but by then it was already too late. You're supposed to take the tablets 2 days before. It didn't kick in really until the rest of the day, but yeah, it's extremely dangerous. I mean, to feel as sick as I did, even with the tablets, I can't imagine how much that would have impacted my body without them. So it's not even a question, it's just a statement, take the tablets.
And that was also the same day that we went through the ice waterfall.
Because it's in the shadow, it never melts. Luckily there's a channel, like a water channel that we can go through, otherwise we'd be effed up.
We just did a waterfall when and it's frozen, so we had to push each other, and that really took the last of my energy. I think Andy's as well. Andy's just had a steak.
I dropped the bike up the top there already, and yeah, it was super scary. Never ridden over snow before, let alone ice. But yeah, we made it. Off to the next challenge.
Woo! It was really scary. I mean, I've done some scary stuff before, but I think both of us were really quite intimidated. We didn't expect that this section of the road would be so dangerous and so steep and so slippery.
The altitude gets to you.
Oh my god, it's crazy.
And then after that section of road, you've got weird bits of wire and these huge boulders, and you know, the road is almost carved like steps, and you're trying to get up this terrain on a ridiculous motorcycle and you've got altitude sickness, and it's all kind of compounding into one thing. And
it's like, how many times a day are we gonna fall, you know?
I can't even hold the camera, mate. No strength.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing to think about is that the altitude affects the bikes. We chose those bikes because we thought they were cool, and that was a huge mistake.
I completely underestimated how hard it would be. I think, especially with the bikes that we had, they are not equipped for off-road riding.
The altitude meant that they had basically no power. They were really heavy. We had enduro tires on them, but not enough grip to make sure we wouldn't slip. Essentially, I think the main problem was that we didn't have enough power to get up the hills, and that caused us a lot of problems. They are the definition of bulletproof. I mean, they didn't have much power left in them, but we did it, and together we did it, you know? All three of us were pushing each other up the hill, and that's kind of what makes the experience so powerful, is that, I mean, we didn't have the right bikes, and we still made it. If we had the right type of bikes, we probably would have been more sick. It's really lucky that we couldn't ascend so quickly on those motorcycles. We were exhausted, but so happy. Relief and excitement, because the hardest part we knew, you know, we'd just finished. And so we're celebrating, we're eating lunch on top of this beautiful cliff, and we're playing with this little kid, and we're just so pumped because we're like, yeah, we love this. This is such an adventure. And then we find out that the road ahead is blocked by roadworks and it won't be open till the next day.
What should we do?
I think we should get back.
Go back?
Yeah.
The only option is to go back the way we came.
Finding out you have to go the whole way back because the road's closed and there's one road. Through all of that,
we were too sick and too tired to take those motorcycles back through, and it would become dangerous to do that.
I'm dead. We have the choice of going back to the last hotel, which apparently is a shit heap, or all the way back.
Yeah, it wasn't an option for us at that stage. So our guide called and found a local town at the start of that day, and they brought a 4-wheel drive and they took us from where we were all the way back to where we started at the start of the day. That feeling was like we'd failed.
I was kind of glad that we turned around and stopped riding for the day. That was kind of a blessing in disguise. We could kind of regroup and sort of chill at a lower altitude.
It was just disappointing.
Let me tell you, that took about 2 hours to get 1 kilometre. We've only done a few kilometres today. We are so far away.
For me, it was a trip of a lifetime, but for Jess, she had to make that flight.
I'm just so, I feel so ill, and I feel so, just out of it. This is life is just happening. I've got no response to it. So I guess we're turning back.
I felt ashamed that I didn't have the courage to go back the way I came. But at that point, and if you've ever felt it, it's the time when you've gone so far and you're in so much over your head that to go back feels just as scary as to go forwards. And so you feel trapped. And that is a really scary feeling because either way you go, you're going to be facing a challenge that you don't want to, even though the challenge is good for you. If that makes sense. End of day 4, we're back where we started. We're sick, we're cold, we're hungry.
Grumpy, we didn't want to see anyone.
Big day.
Good day.
Namaste. Day 5, Upper Mustang, take 2. We were relieved. We were relieved because we knew that everything ahead of us was going to be easier than what we'd just done, like yesterday. And this was the last day to the last point, so everything from here was coming back. It just felt like we were finishing something. We got dropped back at the hut where we left our bikes. The road is now open, so we can continue forwards.
We're almost there. Lo Manthang.
We did find out later, and I can't remember at which point it was, that Andy and I had actually missed a checkpoint in the dark. So somehow we had ridden past the police checkpoint. Maybe I have no idea if they ran after us, which meant that we weren't legally allowed where we were. We hadn't been checked into the region, even though we'd gone and got all the permits. Anyway, so our guide had to do some patching up, and I think he managed to somehow, I'm not sure how, get us through. So. We got to the hotel and it was a victory. We celebrated and it didn't even matter that it was freezing cold and there was no Wi-Fi, there was no electricity, no nothing, and we're in this concrete block house in the middle of nowhere. It didn't matter because we'd accomplished something and we were surrounded by really warm, friendly people. Yeah, that was a really powerful experience.
I think there was a running joke throughout the trip every day that wherever we got like a chance to open up the bikes, I would always yell into the walkie-talkie, "Give it the beans!" And then we'd go for a little race every now and then. Because I gave it the beans, I stacked a lot. Like a lot.
I just had the biggest fall. Luckily it was on this side of the road and not that side of the road.
They were like great stacks too. I was sending it.
Day 6, we were on the mend from being sick, but we desperately needed rest. So we spent some of the time checking out caves and playing in sand on our bikes. Yeah, but aside from that, we were just kind of trying to get ourselves back to a level of energy where we could go on again. I think we just knew in the back of our minds that we had to do, I'm speaking for me anyway, I was dreading going back over that section of road, and I think I was just trying to put some space in between me and that road.
I was excited to go down. I think it was just because we went up, and I think that would have been the harder part. Coming down would have been a little bit easier.
Here we go. The rock is falling. Mini landslide, but we have to get across, so we just have to do this.
Okay.
Woo! The others have made it. So let's hope I make it too. I will make it. I will make this. I will do this. I feel like the past few days I've been complaining quite a lot, mostly into my microphone so no one heard. Today I was nervous, really nervous about coming back through all the difficult stuff. And now I've just hit the threshold. When you fall over that many times, you just find it funny. It's actually the best, because now I'm not really afraid anymore. And I wasn't afraid of like anything that we did today, which is the first time, because I've been quite scared like every day. So I feel really happy, and I've definitely reached a new level, which is cool. I hope that I don't preempt that by saying that now and then tomorrow eat shit and be really grumpy, but I don't think so, because I know I'm gonna fall over. I'm gonna guess 10 times, and I know exactly where it will be. Had a breakthrough yesterday where I wasn't so scared anymore, and then was able to tackle today, which was the hardest part.
Learned so much, especially in terms of riding, and then also going to all the monasteries. I just realized a lot of things, amongst which I should probably reconnect with my family a bit more. Not reconnect, but just connect with my family a bit more.
We fell over quite a lot. I'm pretty sore, but it was amazing. It was like just us in the middle of nowhere. I'm really dirty, I'm really hungry, I'm really thirsty, all these things, but like it doesn't matter, because you're just looking at this beautiful scenery and concentrating on what's in front of you.
Even though it was challenging, I felt like it wasn't scary, and it wasn't something that I couldn't do. You know, it was always, all right, this is the task. What should I do now, and how can I like tackle this?
I was thinking on the way up that, yeah, I do these things so that I don't have to be afraid anymore in my real life. Because definitely every time I do this kind of thing, I think like, can I push it more? Can I even grow more? And it's always possible. And the more you do these kinds of things, the more you grow. And I can't wait to see how I apply the stuff that I've learned here to when I get home.
Cool. All right, ready?
So we were making our way down, and basically we were in the clear. We had pretty much passed the Mustang area, and I was on this gravelly road on the side of a cliff again. And I think I had target fixation because it was super windy and I was like, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. And because of that, I crashed.
Like, I don't even think it's one of those things we can laugh about now because he was really hurt. He came around a corner on what was just a seemingly normal road compared to what we'd ridden. And I was way ahead. And I waited for 20 minutes and no one came. And I went back and him and the guide were trying to pick up the pieces of his bike. It somehow just, he still doesn't know what happened.
And it destroyed a lot of parts on my bike, which I had to pay for, fair enough. That was a learning experience.
Oh God. Oh shit.
When I arrived back in Kathmandu, I was overwhelmed.
We were both like really, really rattled.
And just like overstimulation.
So I changed my flight to an earlier flight just to get out of there.
It's just such a contrast from being in Annapurna and Upper Mustang.
I almost feel like trapped and quite claustrophobic. So we just dropped the bikes back and I'm keen to get to the airport and get home as soon as I can.
And ended up leaving me alone for the last couple of days in Kathmandu, which I thought was okay, but the thing that was stressful was instead of relaxing after a long 2-week ride, we ended up scrambling to get all the stuff that we needed for Jess to leave. So that wasn't cool.
It's kind of like a sad end to the trip because it was such an amazing trip. And I don't want it to end this way.
I feel a little bad about that still. And so I returned home thinking that, you know, it would change how I felt, and I was surprised when I got back to feel exactly how I'd felt when I was in Kathmandu, because I had changed so much and I was now seeing everything differently.
I think given the chance to do it again, I would put more time in, especially just to like slow down and just appreciate the landscape, you know.
I'd grown a lot. The trip just changed me. Like my diet, everything, the way I communicated to people, the space that I had for people, the space in my mind. I feel like, yeah, it wasn't just a motorcycle trip, it was so much more.